Why managers are important? Managers are important because they deal with people and they deal in people. And that is the reason why managers are important. Managers, they need to identify the strength and weaknesses of their employees and try to improve the strength of the employees, not the weakness. These days in the modern world, what we do is we try to focus on the weakness of the employees. There is no one in this world who has got no weakness. And there is no one in this world who has got no strength. But the flaw lies in that we concentrate more on the weaknesses as a manager. We keep highlighting the weaknesses of the employee instead of actually maximizing the strength, because it will take less effort in maximizing the strength than it will take to maximize the weaknesses, because it will take more effort and more energy to improve the weaknesses of the employees. So as a manager, we should be trying to enhance the capability of our employees to the maximum output. You can excel in life by maximizing your strength, but not by fixing your weaknesses, because your energy would be diverted on so many weaknesses, and the time will come when you'll only be able to reach an average position. You'll be a mediocre. But whereas the amount of energy and the effort that you have put in improving your weaknesses, if you use the same amount of energy in improving your strength, you'll be a better placed. Now, Google found out that typically people, they leave any company because of 3 reasons, or a combination of them. They don't feel connected to company's mission, or feel that they are not being valued in the organization, don't really like or respect their co-workers. Third, have a terrible boss, and this was the biggest variable. And where performance reviews are done quarterly rather than annually, saw huge swings in the rating that employees gave to their bosses. So this is one of the maximum reason why people, they leave organization, because of the terrible boss. And in these days, we are surrounded by bad managers rather than surrounded by good managers. And there was a survey done by Business Insider in which it was 41% of people, they responded that they disliked boss. And because of that reason, they quit their jobs. So why managers are important? Managers are important because they are responsible for dealing with people and dealing in people and in retaining their employees and in motivating their employees. What happens is, if the manager is a bad manager, he is going to hurt the morale of the employees. He is going to hurt the relationship with the customers, and he will be responsible for making bad decisions. And these days we are surrounded by bad managers, and this is, well, I don't say that. There are so many principles that people, they have put forward so many reasons citing that bad managers are very common in our workplace. And there is something which is called as Peter's principle, and he says that in hierarchy, everyone reaches their incompetency. What it says is that when people, they are competent at the lower level, they are made managers, and as soon as they become managers, they become incompetent. So he says that every competent employee rises to an incompetency. Now there is another one, Dilbert principle, which says that incompetent employees are systematically moved or sidelined so that they can cause less damage to the management. So this is the definition of a manager. A manager who is incompetent, a person who is incompetent is systematically moved up where they can do least damage to the production. And there's another Putt's law, which says that in technology, it is dominated by 2 types of people. Those who know what they are not managing, and those who don't know what they are managing. So basically, that type, and even Peter Drucker, he had that view that a management is to make the work of others easier. Management is not to make the work of others difficult. And with this kind of management system that we have in place, if we seriously ask this question to ourselves, Are we making the work of other employees easier? Are we making the work of our team members easier? The answer that we will get is, no, we are not making the work of other people easier, but we are rather complicating it, and we are making it more difficult for people to perform their work. So it's making it more complex rather than making it simpler. I will move to the next slide. Now, Jack Welch, he was a chairman and CEO of General Electric, and he came up with 4 types of managers. One, he said that people, those who have high values and who are able to perform, they are good or capable managers. In the second, does not deliver, he's a poor manager. He has got no values and he's not able to deliver. He's a poor manager. Third is awful manager. He is low in values and low in performance. An average manager is that he delivers results but low in values. And the values that we have here is the organizational values, the mission of the organization. So a good manager is a person who has got high values of the organization and who is able to deliver it, and he always strives to make a right balance between the values and the outcomes. And on that basis, we have got 4. We'll move to the next one. Here. Now, we have got awful, we have got poor, we have got mediocre, we have got capable, we have got great. There was one article which appeared in Harvard Review, and the name of that article was, "Are you a good boss or a great one?" And Linda and Kent, they were the author of that article, and they suggested that the primary reason why most of the managers, they are stuck below the grade is because they stop investing in themselves. Investing is missing in this. So it's because they stop investing or working on themselves. So that is one of the reasons why people, they fall short of becoming a great manager. And what can we do to invest in ourselves? What is there and how can we invest in ourselves? And that investment is trying to self-develop ourselves. And that is the investment that is needed. That is the working that is needed on our personality. We need to improve our personality so that we are able to travel from being a mediocre manager, from being a good manager to a great manager. Now, here we have got some examples of great managers. We have got Henry Ford, Jack Welch, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and Akio Morita. He's the founder of Sony. Now the question that we can ask to ourselves is, why are they a great manager? What have they done to be a great manager, to be classified as great managers? And in my view, why they are great managers is because they lived a life of higher purpose, and it was not self-serving. When we have a purpose which is higher, then all the lower values and the purposes, they diminish. And that is called as law of diminishing values. They had high personal and professional values. They knew how to work with people, understand people, and develop relationships. Good manager plays checker, whereas a great manager plays chess. He has the picture of his entire team. He knows the strength and weaknesses of each and every employee reporting to that manager. And he plays the game of chess. He will place the employee to do the right job at the right time. Whereas good manager will only do what he's supposed to do without actually using the strengths and weaknesses of the employees to achieve a outcome. Now, we all know about Henry Ford. He was trying to have this petrol automobile engine, and all qualified engineers were sitting around him, and he was putting this proposal that I want this, I want every person, I want this motor car to be very affordable, and let's come up with some kind of solution where it is less expensive. And people, they had different views, and almost everyone suggested that it cannot be done. And he said, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. So in both ways, you are right. The limitation, you're imposing the limitation by your own self. If you think you can be a good manager, you can be a good manager. If you think you can't be a great manager, you won't be able to be a great manager, because those are the limitations which are self-imposed. Now again here, Jack Welch, he has got a very important message. If you pick the right people and give them the opportunity to spread their wings and put compensation as a carrier behind it, you almost don't have to manage them. And it says the talent of the manager lies in picking the right and choosing the right candidate to do the right job. And he says you don't need to micromanage your people. You need to give them that autonomy and freedom to perform the job that they are supposed to do. If you pick the right people and give them the opportunity to spread their wings and put compensation as a carrier behind, compensation is some kind of incentive behind it, you almost don't have to manage them. And that's very true. That's very true. Now, Steve Jobs, he was the co-founder of Apple. If today were the last day of your life, and would you want to do what you are about to do today as a manager? To be a moral manager, to be an ethical manager, to be a just manager? We need to ask this question to ourselves every minute, because in the world of spirituality, anything that goes around comes around. If you try to cheat your employer today, tomorrow you'll be cheated by someone else. And that's the whole philosophy. And he says that whenever you are in dilemma, ask this question to yourself. The thing that you're going to do now, if you're going to gossip as a manager, if you're going to scold, or if you're going to criticize your subordinate, think twice. And here, Bill Gates, he has got another quotation over here. If you're born poor, it's not your mistake, but if you die poor, it's your mistake. And it is again trying to challenge our limitations. It's trying to motivate us to think outside the box. And management education that we have today and the whole education system that we have today has actually confined us to a box, and it has limited our thinking within a defined limitation, and we cannot think outside the box. And great managers, they think outside the box. To be a great manager, you have to think outside that box. With the kind, Albert Einstein said once that the kind of thinking and the ability that has brought me today here will not take me beyond this. So there is something else that needs to be added to take you beyond that. And that's something else. We are managers, we are qualified, we have got the required qualification, we have got the required university degree, but that is not enough. There is something else that needs to be used, that is going to help us in crossing that river. And that is the spirituality. And all those people that we have got the example over here, including Akio Morita, they were a spiritual person. They may not be a religious person. There is a vast difference. There's a big gap between being a spiritual person and being a religious person. Not necessarily that every religious person is a spiritual person, and not all spiritual person, they are religious person. But spirituality is different, and if I have to define spirituality, I would say that it is law of ethical existence. And I'm a strong believer that that has got the potential to make us a successful person in life. Whether you examine the life of great managers, whether you examine the life of great leaders, or whether you examine the life of great people. Spirituality has something to do with that. Management alone cannot help. There are many other great examples. One of them is Richard Branson, the founder of Virgin Group. Michael Dell, founder of Dell Computers. So all these great managers, they knew how to plan and coordinate the movement of others. That is what I mean, that they were great at playing chess, that they knew the strength and weaknesses of their employees, and they were able to place them at the right time, at the right place. And they had that art of planning and coordinating the movements of others. Now, it is not the quality itself that makes any person a good or great. We'll move in the next slide, we'll examine some of the qualities that people they think is needed. And Roosevelt, American president, he said that the most single ingredient of success is to know how you get along with people. And this is what the art is. Great managers, they had this art, and they have this art. How to get along with people, how to work with people, how to understand them, and how to develop a great relationship. This is the key of becoming a great manager. This is the key of becoming a great leader. And this can only happen if you have got the right attitude. You can change anything in the world, and you can achieve anything in the world if you have got the right temperament and the right attitude. Now, the question to that, why they were great managers, and I don't find that the qualities they were competent people, fine, but it is not necessary that all of them they were university qualified. They were dropouts as well. Bill Gates is a dropout, but still he is the owner of the biggest and the largest company on the planet. It is not the qualities alone that makes you a great or a good manager. Qualities, these are some of the qualities that all good managers they have it. These are the qualities that all great managers they have it. And what is that transition? We had that graph. What is that takes you, we'll go back to that. What is that takes you from being a mediocre to a great? It is not the qualities alone that takes you from being a mediocre to a great manager, or from being a mediocre to a good manager. There is something else, and that's where my answer comes to that, is that that's something else. That 1 degree difference is your spirituality. Fair-minded, we all understand that. We don't need to elaborate on that and explain that. Passionate, delegator, strategic, charismatic, authoritative, resourceful, good-natured, positive, expert, that is competency, results-oriented, empathetic, advocate, that is good, advocate means a good communicator, accessible means approachable, that the person is open, minded and is approachable by the employees. Transparent means not being diplomatic, not being political. Transparent, what is in, that is out. Trustworthy, organized, and team player. These qualities are there. Now, Google did another survey to find out what is it that makes people a great employee. Now, we have established this, that these qualities are present, and these qualities alone, they don't have the potential to make you a great manager. Now, we'll move to the next one and see what Google had to say. What makes a great manager? The 8 habits of highly effective